the line. I was very interested to read mythology stories like Ramayana and Mahabharata. One thing I don't like in this book was the illustration of characters. Even though this book is colorful, but the pictures doesn't attract me. So still it can be drawn in a such way that kids can be attracted. Rating. I'm giving 4 out of 5 stars for this book. This is my first book from this author. I have read many small stories, so I can read this story also on my own. This is my first step to start my reading habits. Hope you all enjoyed my review. Thank you for giving this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
I am Anushka from grade 8, here to review the book The School for Good and Evil by Soman Chainani. Now let me tell an inspirational quote from this book. It is not what we are, it's what we do. This quote teaches us that no matter who we are, it is our actions that truly define us. This fantasy fiction book contains magic and friendship. Now let us see more about the author. Soman Chainani is an American author and filmmaker. He was born in Miami, Florida in the United States. Other than The School for Good and Evil, which is the first book of a 6-book series, he has also written a book called Beast and Beauty. He is a graduate of Harvard University and Columbia University's MFA film program. He got inspired to write The School for Good and Evil by his opinion about how Disney has ruined the fairy tales which are supposed to be survival guides for life. This book was published by HarperCollins in 2013. It contains 488 pages and 30 chapters. It is very long and takes 4 to 5 days to read. It also contains a colorful cover which displays the 2 main characters along with their respective schools. This book is about how the 2 protagonists, Sophie and Agatha, discover their true selves and overcome the stereotypes forced upon them. They learn the true meaning of being kind and having inseparable friendship. This book first took place at the small village of Gavaldon, which was the hometown of the 2 protagonists. It later took place at the School for Good and Evil, where the main characters studied. This book was set in an imaginary world at a very old time, when there was no internet, cell phones, and other technology. As I said, there are 2 main characters in this story, Sophie and Agatha. Sophie is a 15-year-old girl who is very beautiful. She cares more about her looks than her kindness. She only does good things for others to earn a good reputation. For example, in chapter 1, Sophie's father praises Belle, a kind girl in their village, saying that she would go to the school for good because she has a kind heart, as she cooks for her father every day and gives the leftovers to a poor old woman living in the village. Sophie, on the other hand, hasn't even cooked a single meal for her father since the death of her mother. She keeps making silly excuses to avoid cooking. In another part of the book, Sophie rudely refuses to be friends with Radley, who is a small boy again in the village. Her initial thought is that she had ruined months of good deeds and she wished that she had simply told him that she would be his friend. But later on, she thought that since Radley was far from beautiful unlike her, it gave her an excuse to not be friends with him. Sophie hated her ordinary life at Gavaldon and believed that she was destined for a fairy tale life at the school for good. The other protagonist, Agatha, is completely different from and the opposite of Sophie. She is also a 15-year-old girl, but she is far from beautiful. Although she does not go out of her way to help others, she still has a kind heart. Agatha is very different from others and is independent. She prefers staying at her home over coming out and interacting with people. She is very realistic, unlike Sophie, who dreams about a fairy tale life at the school for good. When Sophie questions Agatha about her weird behavior, Agatha replies with silly but honest answers. For example, when Sophie asks Agatha why she always wears black, Agatha replies saying that she wears black because it does not get dirty. In the same way, she says that she gave Sophie a dead frog for her birthday to remind her that we will all die one day, so we should cherish our birthdays while we have them. She even dressed as a bride for Halloween because she thought weddings were scary. So as you can see, the 2 protagonists of the story, Sophie and Agatha are very different. However, despite their differences, they are both actually best friends. Although Sophie first started their friendship to get a good reputation, she later felt that Agatha was the only one who understood her. In the same way, Agatha felt that Sophie was the only one who made her feel ordinary, which is all she had ever wanted. Now let me tell a short summary of the story. Every 4 years, two children from the village of Gavaldon, one good and one evil, are taken away to attend the school for good and evil. Sophie has dreamt about attending the school for good for years and is delighted when her dream comes true, and that too with her friend Agatha. But to her surprise, when they arrive at the school, Agatha is put into the school for good and she is put into the school for evil. Agatha then creates a plan for them both to escape home, but Sophie unexpectedly demands to go to the school for good and refuses to come back home with Agatha. After betraying her friend and ruining her hard work, how will they both ever be friends again? The major issue of this book that the characters had to face was that they were trapped in their respective schools with no way to escape home or even switch schools. The solution to this problem is to prove that Sophie is actually good and Agatha is evil. But Sophie wanted to use this to switch to the school for good rather than escaping back home with Agatha. At the end of the book, they both agree on that instead of trying to change who they are so that they can switch schools, they will stop the discrimination of evil and good and unite the two schools as one before finally escaping back home. This book was very motivating and inspiring for me to read. I learned that we should not judge people based on their looks alone, but we should get to know their character. A moral I learned from the story is never judge a book by its cover. The two characters, Sophie and Agatha, also changed a lot throughout the book. As you know, Sophie was very unkind at the beginning of the book. Later on, she became more evil and cruel because of the anger she felt when things did not go the way she planned. When she got tired of people making fun of her for not being evil, she decides to sneak into the school for good and torture the students there. Agatha, on the other hand, became more nice and kind towards everyone. Originally, she avoided people and did not go out of her way to help others. But later on, she started becoming friends with the girls of the school for good whom she had hated before. She became so kind that she even tried to help many of the animals who were actually cursed humans and tried to save them from their fate. Sophie and Agatha were not the only ones who changed throughout this book. Many other minor characters also changed by getting inspiration from these two characters. What I really enjoyed about this book was that it had a unique story, and instead of creating a separate antagonist for this book, the author made the protagonists enemies of themselves. What I did not like about this book was that it contained a lot of content in pages which I felt was unnecessary. I recommend this book to children between the age of 10 and 14 who are fairy tale lovers, and I rate this book 4 out of 5 for its complex story and characters. I only did not rate it 5 out of 5 for the one reason that it contained a lot of pages and was difficult for me to read. I hope you all are inspired to read this book. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I am Devyani from 5A. Today I am going to review the book on the title Super Memory. It can be yours. Human memory is one of our primary intellectual faculties. Human memory is more powerful than file, floppy and disk, the electronic thing which is used for storing memory. Thanks to our memory. Shakuntala Devi, the mad genius, is the author of this book. Shakuntala Devi was the internationally renowned mathematical prodigy. She had the fantastic ability of, in her mind, doing instantaneously problems which would take hours to put down on paper. She was born on 4th November 1929 at Bengaluru and she died in April 21, 2030. She was a mental calculator and writer, popularly known as human computer. Her talent earned her a place in the Guinness Book of World Record. She got a world record by multiplying a 13-digit number by another 13-digit number. and told its answer 12 seconds faster than a computer. But she does not like to be called the human computer because she strongly believes that human brain is more powerful than a machine. The appearance of this book is it is covered with a bright yellow color, and the speciality of this book is it has the signature of the author at its back, and it has 239 pages in total. The content of this book are get set for an unforgettable experience, think like crazy, instant recall, end of absent-mindedness. A good memory makes a great speaker, and memory tricks and treats. The main intention of this book is to release the immense power of your memory. Memory integrates ourselves with culture, civilization, modernity, country, the world. It can motivate us to great achievement. There are a total of 12 chapters in this book, and every chapter is very interesting. Chapter 1 is about how to make our brain a fertile ground. If you want to have a good memory, first your brain needs to be a fertile ground. So, the steps to make our brain a fertile ground are throw out the mental clutter, always have an open mind, and follow a proper diet by taking in an enough amount of iron and B-complex. And if you want to have a good memory, instead of sitting under the roof, go out and get some sunlight, and always sit muscles up. Chapter 2 is about how to remember a person's name by nickname. We can remember a person's nickname more than a name because they're easier to remember. And chapter 2 also talks about how to remember a big list. We can easily remember a list by grouping them into groups. For example, lock, door, key work together, which make a group, which is also easier to remember. If you couldn't make groups of objects, try to make a story out of them. Chapter 3 is about how to remember a person's full name. Chapter 4 is about how to remember a person's face. We can remember a person's face by their physical features. For example, small eyes, sharp nose, flat teeth, long hair. And we can even identify their face by their laughter, smile, and even voice. The 5th chapter is about how to remember a telephone number. Remembering a telephone number, according to her, was to by heart it. What she means here is to tell the number without a stop, and you will notice a rhythm in it. This is the way of remembering a telephone number easily. The sixth chapter is about how to remember the longest number. Every number has a separate sound to identify them. For example, the sounds of 1 are ta-ta-ti-ti, da-da-di-di, and da-da-di-di. Like this, a number may have one sound or even more than a sound. The 6th and 7th chapter is about playing interesting games which increase our memory power. For example, cards and chess. The 6th chapter is about how to improve your card playing skills. Follow these steps. Find my hand. Read my mind. I will read yours. I will read yours. A spin-off consequences. And the 7th chapter is about how to play chess easily. One of my favorite lines in this chapter are, make a new move by a smart strategy. The 9th chapter is about the 9th chapter is about how to classify our brain into sections to increase our memory power. For example, if you walk into a library, you may notice the books are classified into stories, novels, biographies, and so on, which help us to take the book easily. The 10th chapter is one of my favorite chapters because the 10th chapter talks about asking the question word why to all of the questions to increase our memory power by collecting more information. by collecting more information. The 11th chapter is about a good memory makes a great speaker. If you want to speak good, follow these steps. First, look at the audience. Be confident in your memory. Don't be nervous. And don't memorize your speech. Instead, try to understand the content of the speech. The 12th chapter is about memory tricks and treats. It talks about memorizing the calendar events like holidays, birthdays, festivals, and so on in our fingertips. And it also talks about how to remember the spelling of words. Now it's time to get into the overview of this book. First, throw out the mental clutter. For example, you remember a word screever and its meaning and tell it every day morning. But after a month, you suddenly forget what word you memorized. And why is that? One of the reasons is because of your mental clutter. The preoccupation of your mind of the useless information which is stored in your mind causes to forget the word screever. So always try to throw out the mental clutter. Next, always have an open mind. Always have an open mind. For example, Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton was not the first one to see an apple falling from a tree, but his open-mindedness helped to create gravitational force. And Archimedes was not the first one to take a bath, but their open-mindedness helped to create an history. Conclusion. I learned so many ideas to turn my memory into super memory. So I highly recommend this book to students of all age. Have a super memory. Thank you.
Hi, I am Naresh from grade 7A. Today, I am going to review the book You're Born to Blossom, written by APJ Abdul Kalam and co-authored by Arun K. Tiwari. APJ Abdul Kalam was born in 1931. He was a great idol of this era. He has been one of the successful scientists of this era. About Arun K. Tiwari, who was a best friend of APJ Abdul Kalam. He was the master of mechanical engineering. He has been the co-advisor of APJ Abdul Kalam when he was a president. We all hear that always APJ Abdul Kalam will say that youth are the next India. Why he says? Because we small children does not have mental capacity to understand everything. Elder do not have the physical capacity of doing everything. So teenagers who have both physical and mental capacity to do everything, they have time to implement and learn things. Now let me say you a small overview of this book. First, he says different aspects of life like spiritual and education. He shows his concern about current education system. He says this system holds the individuality of a student. This system changes the mindset. How? Because he says a good teaching teaches we will study in same state and work for same state. But this education teaches you want to study in this state and work for other states. And he says we should not be only selfish. We should also take care about our country's growth and nature's growth, because which gives us good things. We humans are doing many discrimination all over the world. But trees, we are cutting trees, we are wasting trees, but it's not showing discrimination. We humans also should do the same, because it's a non-living thing. We are doing bad things. It's doing only good things for us. We should also do only good things to everyone. No bad things for others. He says a dedicated teacher burn themselves like a candle and give lots of information to a student. But he mentions there's something differently. Your teacher should not give lots of information for just passing examination, because it's a bad opinion according to APJ Abdul Kalam. He says there are 3 pillars for a student's life. First is parents, second is teachers, third is mentors. We are being respectful for them, but in sometimes we are not understanding what they are saying. He says we should give respect to them, but not blind obedience. There's difference between respect and blind obedience because we all are not doing what the same our parents says because they say something correct, sometimes wrong. So we should not do everything blindly. We should analyze ourselves. He says we should not set goals based on others. We should set goals based on ourselves because we only know who we are and what is best for us. From this book, I love the second chapter because it gives lots of information about this book. He says actual meaning of life. He says a life is a journey, not a race. Journey means nothing but understanding everything and going deep inside it and learning everything clearly. Race, like a competition. In every journey, you will have a progress. Between that progress, you will have a race. All races need a clear journey. So whatever you do, do like a good bonfire. Do not leave any trash in between. He says one great person does not become a world. When many great persons combine, this great world comes. He defines this world as a plant and its grassroots as society. It gets strengthened by technology and it gets more energy from industrial prospects. He says comparing quality is a great quality, but if you start comparing without knowing about yourself, then many questions will arise. So first understand yourself and start comparing. For the use of comparing is nothing but to more and more know about yourself. So I recommend you all to start comparing yourself. He says a wise man be aware against imitation because there are three ways of wisdom learning. First is imitation, second is reflection, third is experience. Confucius, a great philosopher, says that reflection is a noblest characteristic and imitation is the easiest way. Experience is the bitterest way. Why? Because in every experience, like we will say that this is an easy game to play, but if we go and play only, we know how hard is it. So every experience is so bitterest way of learning. He says, Mark Twain, a great person, says that courage is resistance to fear, not absence of fear, mastery fear. He says by this thought, what means we should mastery fear, which will become absence in us fear. And he says that we should be courageous ourselves because a good teaching teaches the same. And Abdul Kalam, remember a story from his life. When in 2006, when he was a president, he flew a fighter plane for 40 minutes from Jaipur. And after the ride, when he landed, a person from the gathering asked, "You do not feel fear?" He answered as cool as a cucumber, like, "I did not fear because I have no time to control the instruments." By the way, I conclude by saying that you should all not have any fear of doing any competitions. So my rating for this book is 5 out of 5. It's a great book and wonderful book. It's recommended to all. I conclude my speech by saying that do not leave your reading books like something. Start implementing your life and start writing your own books, which makes more develop yourself. Thank you.
I'm Sonia of grade 8. Stop going through life. Start growing through life. I'm reviewing Life's Amazing Secrets by Gaur Gopal Das, a book on motivation, self-development and healthy living. It is a must-read for people who have everything, money, home, family and health, but still are unhappy. I came to know about Gaur Gopal Das when I came across one of his videos on YouTube. He is one of the most popular and sought-after monks and life coaches in the world. He has shared his wisdom with millions. His debate book, Life's Amazing Secrets, distills his experiences and lessons about life into a light light-hearted and thought-provoking book that will help you align yourself with the life you want to live. The most important reason for me liking him is that he's someone who doesn't speak about religion or tries to manipulate people with his words by playing the religion card. His speeches are more about following the spiritual paths and virtues that are straightforward, righteous, and considerate. I was really fascinated by his thoughts and teachings. So I researched book done by him and bought Life's Amazing Secrets online from Amazon. I'm really glad I did it because the insights, examples, and the story are simple to understand and are life-changing if one truly understands the motive behind the same. I was really, while navigating the way through Mumbai's horrendous traffic, Gaur Gopal Das and his wealthy young friend Harry get talking, delving into concepts ranging from human condition to finding one's purpose in life and the key to lasting happiness. So in this book, Gaur Gopal Das talks about 4 principles or 4 wheels of life that form the foundation of happy life. These are personal life, work life, relationships, and social contribution. Gaur Gopal Das gave instances from Bhagavad Gita, stories of famous personalities like Aditya Birla, and also from his own life journey, which made me like the book a lot more. Every chapter starts with a beautiful quote and ends with a summary of the chapter that one can take as takeaways to start practicing. I am listing below the author's key points from the book, which may inspire others to read the book just like I did. The first is to have a positive state of mind when dealing with problems. Gaur Gopal Das used to stay in an ashram with over 100 monks in South Mumbai, a part of town that never sleeps. So he felt congested and nitpicked every grievance he had with the management of the temple and the people who had wronged him to his spiritual guide Radhanath Swami. So after he had finished all his complaints, Radhanath Swami said, "See, there are many positive things happening in our community. I am not saying these problems don't exist. But the real problem is that when negativity consumes our mind, not only do we lose the vision to see the beautiful things around us, but also the ability to solve the problem that confront us. So we should train our mind to focus on the positive and feel empowered to deal with the negative." So it was not that the problems Das had were not real. We all go through real challenges for which solutions should be found. But what Radhanath Swami taught was the power of having a positive state of mind when dealing with problems constructively. Next, the author says that gratitude is the key to staying positive and happy. Being grateful happens in 2 ways. The first is to realize that there is good in the world and that good has fallen upon us. The next is to know that goodness is coming from something other than us. An external reality is giving the gifts of grace to a very own reality. This could be a family, friends, teachers, and even God. We have so much things to be grateful for. Better sleep, the ability to express more kindness, feeling more alive, and even having a strong immune system are all benefits of being thankful. A poem composed by Johnson Oatman Jr. summarizes my message eloquently. When upon my life's billows your tempest tossed, when you're discouraged thinking all is lost. When upon my life's billows your tempest tossed, when you're discouraged thinking all is lost. Count your many blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. Count your many blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. Next, the author says to press pause and reflect on what one is grateful for. It isn't good enough to say that we are too busy to be grateful. One of the many ways to start practice gratitude is by writing a gratitude log daily. It is a simple exercise that will take approximately 10 minutes a day to do, and there are no hard or fast rules. It is best to do this activity in the early morning because starting the day with gratitude will leave you feeling positive for the rest of the day. Reflect on the last 24 hours and identify 3 to 5 people or situations that you are grateful for. The more descriptive you are, the more easier it will be to excavate the emotion of gratitude from within you. So the daily description should consist of 3 to 5 people or things that you are grateful for. You can be grateful for anything. Something as simple as someone smiling at you, giving you a seat on the bus, or helping you cross the road. We cannot repay every action of kindness towards us, but we can start from the people closest to us. Did you thank your mom for cooking your food? Did you thank your friend who made you feel comfortable around him or her? Did you thank your teachers who had sacrificed their holidays to train you for an event? And importantly, what actions will you take to thank them? Write it down and feel the happiness you felt when the good was done unto you. The author says that some things in life are beyond our control and hence there is no point worrying. So once a clip of joke edited out of context from one of the lectures Das had given to 1,500 university students at his temple went viral on social media platforms. So in the clip he was saying, in any school in India, do you know how much a teacher would save on an average after 10 years of working? I'll or 2 lakh rupees. A software engineer in India after 10 years of working. Do you know how much he would earn on an average? Probably a lakh, 40 lakh or 50 lakh rupees. An Indian politician, not a good one, but a corrupt one, will save around 30 to 40 crores after earning through 10 years of scams. So he said, imagine what people who are wearing the saffron khadi can earn. When every spiritual man, a guru in India, his 10-year savings were rupees 238 crore only. And another man, a religious leader in India, his savings were rupees 1,177 crore only. And yet another man, a religious leader in India, his savings were rupees 4,000 crore only. And the video was cut short there, but actually it was part of a broader discourse to make the point that we focus on earning at the expense of learning in our professional lives. Though it was a joke, he started receiving hate comments saying, how can a saffron-clad monk like you say something so derogatory about India's spiritual gurus like that? He was so scared to open his mobile phone for the next few hours. The next day, like a message from heavens, he received a flowchart entitled, Why Worry? Soon he realized it's impossible to stop a clip that's gone viral on the internet. So when a situation goes beyond our control, we should turn to our spiritual strength and ask, why worry? Whether or not we can do something about it, our response should never be anxiety. Next, the author stresses a point about spirituality. Spirituality is a way of life that helps us to connect to something above ourselves, and this can be practiced with 20 minutes of meditation. It's been a book that I can pick up anytime I feel low or out of balance. It also doesn't make me disappointed and take diversion, as it is not as hefty as Harry Potter or famous 5 books. It was first published in Penguin Ananda by Penguin Random House India 2018. It is written beautifully and presented well, and I give this book a 4.8-star rating, as it has changed at least 40% of my personality. The negative thing about the book is that because the author has included unnecessary personal details in the name of elaborating the content. I think we could have avoided that. This book is recommended for teenagers when we are indulged in other activities rather than on making our own future. Thank you.
I am Shrishti Shanita of grade 5, here to present a book review on the topic Believe in Yourself, written by Dr. Joseph Murphy. First, let me tell you about the author. Dr. Joseph Murphy was born on May 20, 1898 in a small town in the country of Cork, Ireland. He was one of the pioneers of the human potential movement. He shows that how to make our dreams come true to achieve great success in your life. Each one of us has immense inborn potential. With the right amount of mental attitude, you have what it takes to succeed. You can stimulate your conscious mind. This, in turn, is the engine that would do the actual work of starting you on the path of accomplishing your ambitions and aspirations to their fullest. Dr. Joseph Murphy died in December 28, 1981. He wrote more than 30 outstanding self-help books. His seminal work, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, continues to be the best-selling book of all time. Now, let us get into this book. This book contains 3 chapters. Chapter 1, Make Your Dreams Come True. Chapter 2, Using Your Subconscious Mind in Business. Chapter 3, How to Imagine Success. This book fully contains about our subconscious mind and imagination. Let us know more about our subconscious mind. Subconscious, the hidden part of your mind that can affect the way that you behave without you realizing. Functions to overcome fear and worry, for wealth and success, for health and vitality, to develop self-confidence and self-esteem, for a more spiritual life, for an enriched life. Other books by Dr. Joseph Murphy are Telephysics, Physics Prescription, Miracles of Your Mind, and etc. Chapter 1, Make Your Dreams Come True. In this chapter, I came to know how to make our dreams come true. Important points in this chapter are: Joseph is sold into Egypt, means that your concept or desire must be subjectively understood. So, for example, when you plan to go somewhere, your mind must subjectively understand the program which you are going to do. So, if it understands, that means that you are ready to do something. With your imagination, you can actually hear the invisible voice of your mother, even though she lives 10,000 miles from here. You can also see her clearly, quite as vividly as if she were present here. Your mental attitude means your mental reaction to people. The question in this chapter is, do you wish to realize your dreams? If you do, that means that you should learn how to use your subconscious mind. Chapter 2. How to make your subconscious mind to be important in your life. In this chapter, I came to know how to use your subconscious mind. So, I saw a story which I would like to share to you. Once there was a very religious schoolboy about 14 years old. Whenever he had a problem, he would use his subconscious mind and imagine that the problem is solved. Once his mother was very ill. He said to himself, "Don't worry, Mom will get well." Every day he said to himself until one day his mother got well. This is the power of your subconscious mind. Important point in this chapter is, from now on, let your words be as apples of gold in the pictures of silver. So, apples of gold represent the word which you use, and pictures of silver represent the words which other people use. So, your words should be apples of gold, while others are, you should be different from others. You should be unique when you tell something. Chapter 3. How to imagine success. In this chapter, I came to know how to imagine success. Imagining success is a great way of achieving success. So, for example, if you are going to a running race, so every day you imagine that you are going to win this race. So, if you keep on imagining, our subconscious mind will tell you to work hard for your race. So, the favorite thing in this book is, it is easy to read, it is very simple language, and it has no age limit. It is very helpful for future, and it is a self-help book. It helps us to stimulate our conscious mind and helps us to enrich our life. I would give this book a 5-star rating because it is very interesting to read and it helps me to learn how to use our subconscious mind. So, hope you enjoyed my book review. Thank you.
I'm Jayavashni from grade 9 here to give a book review on the topic The Power of Awareness by Nelvi Goddard. This is a self-help book which I read for improving myself. This book tells us about the power of awareness to us. How come being awareness helps us to improvise our characters and to lead our life in a better way. It tells us the importance of assumption to us. Yes, the author says that everything starts in the way we think about ourselves. If we think success, definitely we will reach success. But if we are in if we are less in confidence, if we think that we will lose, we are not worth for that, then we will definitely lose. The author comes to tell here is everything starts in the way we think about ourselves. It helps us to lead our life in a better way and in the right way. Before I have read a beautiful quote which was in the front page of the book. Leave the mirror and change your face. Leave the world alone and change yourself through assumptions. I repeat, leave the mirror and change your face. Leave the world alone and change yourself through assumption. The author was a Barbarian author who written many journals like Bible, Mysticism and many other self-help books. My most favorite journals was self-help books. He again repeats in every books that the way we think is matters. How we think. Everything starts in our thoughts. How we live our life, how what comes to us, how we react to the problems. Everything starts in the way we think about ourselves. How we assume it matters. Yes. This book consists of totally 27 chapters, which are like 27 steps that we must follow for reaching success. The author says that we can also reach success in an effortless way. Yes, we can reach success in an effortless way by concentrating in some basic things which we are lagging now. I would like to tell 10 steps which I got most important for reaching success. For the first step, which I have told already, is the way we think about ourselves. The way we assume ourselves matter. Yes, he gives an example here. There was a strong man and a weak man. The weak man was too weak. He was affected. He was physically not fit. One day he met the strong man. The strong man asked, "How do you feel now?" But the weak man replied sorrowfully that, "I am not feeling better." But he told, "But I am strong." "How could you say that?" the strong man asked him with a question mark. So the weak man replied again that, "I am strong." So if you want, you can check me like that. The weak man said. So the strong man said him to lift the boxes and so. So the weak man also lifted it. The doctor's advice is he should not lift the boxes, but he lifted. The strong man was shocked. Pass. Here this author is saying that how we assumes here matters. Yes, if we assume that we could do it, we can do it, then definitely we can. The second step is the truth sets you free. Yes, you must be true to yourself. First, start accepting yourself. Of course, human's nature is making mistakes. We all make mistakes. We have to overcome through it. If we are staying in that mistake, then it's our fault. Then we could not go to next step for reaching success. We should not sit in the same place and think that we are making mistakes. Then how could we reach success if we are feeling guilty about it? Think, how could you reach success? How could you move on to next step for reaching success? Then you will get failure. Then you will be starting to demotivate yourself so that you could not reach your success. So our step is to overcome it. Human's nature is making mistake. We have to overcome it. Next, the third step is free will. We are free to choose anything. The author says that we have to focus in one point where we want to reach success. Remember, a man cannot be 100 times conscious and successful in every works. The author says that we have to be focused in one thing and give 100% on it. A man cannot be stable a double-minded man cannot be stable every time. We have to give 100% focus in one thing for achieving success and let that be your dream. Yes, focus on your dreams. Of course, we all have dreams. We have to focus on it and start taking the steps for it. Next, the fourth step is attention. Yes, we have to be aware what is happening around us. If our teachers ask us a question, when we are listening, definitely we will answer it. But when we are not listening, what we would do, we would blink at that time. That time we will be feeling ashamed of ourselves. So that after that incident happened, at night in your home or anywhere else where you're staying, you would be demotivating yourself that I am worthless, I cannot do it, I am not even worth for it, like that. But we should not. What happens if we are listening? What happens when we are thinking that we could do? What happens when we answer the question? We would start feeling proud, right? So we would be motivating ourselves. So we will be getting motivated and start going through next steps where we want to reach success. So here he says the power of attention to us here. Next, the fifth step, my most favorite step is we can also reach success in an effortless way. Yes, the author says that start taking least actions for your success. Least actions without hesitate can lead you to success. Yes, start taking small steps. Don't wait until last minute for everything. Start taking least actions and through assumptions. Believe yourself that you could do it. Have faith and Have motivated on yourself. Believe that you can do it and start working on it. Next, the sixth step is be the doers. Yes, we can assume ourselves. We should assume. We should assume ourselves. Next, we must be having faith and belief that we could do it. Start doing it and have belief on yourself. So I have said you the 6 steps which I most favorably liked. First, assume yourself. Second, the truth sets you free. Accept yourself. Second, third, concentrate in your dream with your 100 full focus. Next, the 4th step is pay attention. 5th step is start taking least actions. I conclude by saying that I recommend this book for everyone who wants to reach success. Thank you.
I'm Meera Muthukrishnan from grade 5B. Today, I'm here to do a book review. The book's name is Geronimo Stilton, The Haunted Castle. This is an amazing book written by Elizabetha Dami. Elizabetha Dami is a children's book author who is famous for being the creator of Geronimo Stilton. The author worked as a volunteer in a hospital and took care of sick children. It was where Geronimo was invented. He would get involved in all sorts of entertaining adventures and fun events. The author taught the world that children need to laugh to get better. This is the 46th book in Geronimo Stilton series. It is suitable for age group 6 to 12 years old. It is an interesting adventure with lot of colorful pictures. The series has nearly sold 180 million copies worldwide. It is one of the best-selling book series ever written. It was published in 2007 by Scholastic. The books were originally written in Italian and translated into 49 languages. It was also adapted to animated television series and theatrical shows and video games. The main character in the story is Geronimo Stilton, a learned and brainy mouse who is considered to be born in New Mouse City, Mouse Island. He is running Rodden's Gazette, New Mouse City's widely read daily newspaper. Tia, Geronimo's sister. Tia is fearless and the bravest of all. Trap, Geronimo's cousin, an awful joker. Benjamin, Geronimo's favorite nephew, a sweet, lovely 9-year-old mouse. Uncle Sample, Geronimo's uncle, who belongs to Stingy Snout's family. Stingy Snout and recently related to Stiltons. The relationship between Stingy Snout and Stiltons are strained for one simple reason, because Stingy Snouts are very stingy, placing too much importance on money and not wanting to spend it. The story takes place in haunted Penny Pincher Castle. It is a big castle with lot of rooms in it. There is a dark hallway with no electricity. It was really in need of some restoration. Drops of water were falling from the ceiling. The floors were full of holes. The walls were moldy. Let me tell you the outline of the story. One morning, Geronimo receives a strange phone call from Uncle Sample. He calls to invite Geronimo, Tia, Trap, and Benjamin to Penny Pincher Castle for some ceremony. But they don't even know what ceremony it is. All 4 of them hesitated to go. But Geronimo convinced them and all decided to go. They started their journey. By late evening, they reached the Valley of Lack, where there is very little water, very little light, few birds in sky, and even the inhabitants of the valley are scarce. As they drove, the weather grew worse and it started to pour. But finally, they reached the highest peak of the mountain where the Penny Pincher Castle was located. They knocked the door and Uncle Sample appeared. He was crying so hard that the tears were dripping down from his snout like a fountain. He said that Uncle Bigwig has left us. He passed away. The Chilton family was clueless who Uncle Bigwig was. Uncle Sample led them to the dark hallway and explained them that Uncle Samble is the heir to the stingy snout property. Even this castle belonged to him. Finally, they reached the enormous banquet hall where all the relatives were gathered. Uncle Samble announced that it is now time for Bigwig's lawyer to read out the will. The lawyer read out, I, Bigwig S. Stingy Snout, leave all that I own to Samble S. Stingy Snout. As Geronimo chatted with the other Stiltons and Stingy Snouts, he came to know that not one of them seemed to know who Uncle Bigwig was. Uncle Samble led them to the next room, where the coffin sat in the center of the room. Geronimo purposely bumped and tripped into to discover. It was so light it seemed to be empty. Uncle Samble shouted, "What are you doing, Geronimo? Uncle Bigwig left us a very contagious disease, acute rheumatism, so don't touch it." Geronimo had never heard of this disease. It was too late for burial now. They will bury Uncle Bigwig tomorrow. Geronimo decided to confide with his family of how he felt that the things were strange, and the coffin was so light it seemed to be empty. Tia suggested to open the coffin. He did. It was empty. All were in shock. Uncle Samble said, "Forgive me. A few weeks ago, I found an ancient scroll in which I had to share this castle with my family. As I didn't want to share, I made up the story of Uncle Bigwig." After a few seconds, Trap announced, "We forgive you, but with a condition. You have to restore the castle." In the coming week, Geronimo's uncle Gagrit and Uncle Samble's sister Cinzina decided to get married. Even though stingy snouts are very stingy, Cinzina wanted the marriage to be grand. The marriage was beautiful and the food was finger-licking good. All four of them arrived in the new Mount City happily. Uncle Samble's greedy desire let him down in front of the family, but the family forgave him. This shows an idea of family bonding. This book also has colorful and illustrated pictures to attract kids. I have read 4 other books in this series. I loved reading Happy Birthday Geronimo compared to Haunted Castle for one simple reason, that is humor. Happy Birthday Geronimo in short is where Geronimo ends up having a mysterious birthday. Geronimo wakes up on his birthday in a happy mood. He steps out to go to his office. He finds an enormous moving truck in which a strange bamboozle family arrived. He was forced to drink a disgusting pop by this family. He went out for his birthday and he found out that his bills has been changed with phony bills. And his check read Toyland Pretend and his card read Banks Bank. And guess what? The bamboozle family were the thieves. This book will take you through an interesting adventure with the friends go through to solve the mystery in a humorous way. This book also has colorful pictures to attract kids to read. Check out the series geronimostilton.com. You will get an idea of all the books in this series. I loved reading this series. I look forward to read more books in this series. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I am Surya from grade 7B here to present a book review on the book titled Stick Up For Yourself. This is a motivational and self-help book written by Gershon Kaufman and Nev Raphael, who both completed their PhDs in clinical psychology and American studies respectively. They both have written lots of books individually and combined together. Free Spirit Publishing took their script for this book and published it in the year 2019. So, have you ever been in a situation where you were in need of support but you couldn't get any? You're wrong. You always have a support. That is yourself. But maybe you aren't ready to speak up for yourself. So by reading this book, you will learn how to do so. The author say that you need two main things to stick up for yourself. They are personal power and positive self-esteem. First, let's talk about personal power. They say that to get personal power, you should follow four main rules. They are be responsible, get to know yourself, make choices, and finally, get and use personal power in a relationship. First, be responsible. Being responsible doesn't mean being the boss or the in charge. What it really means is that we are responsible for our own feelings and we don't blame others for our actions based on our feelings. Then make choices. The author has explained this with a good example. Think that you are playing a video game with your friend. You keep on losing while your friend always won. At a point of time, you get so frustrated that you take his controller away and make him lose. When he asks why, you tell him that you made me do it. You're wrong. He is not the one who made you to choose that way. In that situation, you could have thought that maybe he was better in that game and I could practice more and beat him the next time. So always choose wisely how you want to feel in a particular situation. Then get to know yourself. If you work too hard to please others by doing the things they do, going to places they go, and so on, you won't be able to know yourself. So always be yourself, follow your dreams, and go towards the direction of your future ambition. Then, last and finally, get and use personal power in a relationship. Most of us don't like being kids since adults have the power to make decisions for us, but we have more power than we think. Power is basically categorized into two types, personal power and role power. The kind of power that all adults like parents, teachers, police and so on have is called role power. It is a power to make decisions, make rules, break rules, give freedom, take it away and so on. Even sometimes students have role power. Like being the president of a club, we get to choose what the club should do next. The kind of power that we all have is called personal power. When we get orders from people who have role power, we feel powerless. But when we get choices, we feel a little powerful since we get to choose. So speak up for yourself and make them to give you choices. Tips to try if you're shy. In this book, the author has mentioned some tips for people who are shy. He suggests to make more friends because the more friends you have, the less shy you will feel. Then talk to adults who you can trust and can talk to and tell them about your shyness. Also ask them about situations where they also felt shy. Last but not least, always respect yourself even when you are feeling shy. And it is the most important step to avoid your shyness. Then bullying is a major problem that all middle schoolers face. In this book, the author has also suggested some tips for people who are being bullied. He says to look at them straight in the eye and tell them that you don't like it or stop it and just walk away calmly when you are being bullied. Then walk into a group of your friends because bullies don't like being outnumbered. Then make more friends because the more friends you have, the more support you will get. Then go tell a teacher or a parent who you trust and can talk to and tell them how you are being teased or abused. Power in a relationship. In some relationships, the other person has all the power while you have no power. So get some power from them and have an equally powered relationship. Now, a question may come in your mind. How to get that power from them? It's simple. In most of these relationships, the other person will make it to do something forcefully. Thus, reject them because if you accept them, it will make them feel more powerful and thus give you more forceful orders. Then, grow a feeling vocabulary. Dr. Sylvan Tompkins was a psychologist who spent most of his lifetime studying about people's feelings. He categorized our feelings into 9 basic types. Some of them are happiness, surprise, disgust, dismal, and so on. Some of these feelings even have a higher intensity version of them, like joy for enjoyment, startle for surprise, horror for fear, and so on. In some situations, 2 or more feelings may come together in a row and seem to mix together. This is called a combined feeling.
When we are experiencing combined feelings, we cannot name our feelings since we do not know what kind of feeling we are experiencing right at that moment. Some of the most common combined feelings are jealousy, contempt, down mood, and stress. Um, at least we would experiencing these feelings at least one time in our life. So, in my opinion, this is a great book, but it has so many topics, subtopics, and even has smaller divisions under that. It will confuse you. And if you follow all these points, you will reach great heights in your life. So, I recommend this book to to middle schoolers because most of these issues are faced by middle schoolers. So, I conclude my review by telling stick up for yourself. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sarvesh from grade 3. Now I'm going to review this book, Birthday Boy. What if it was every day? By David Buddy. Before starting my review, I would like to dedicate my today's review to all the birthday boys present over here. So dear friends, brothers and respected teachers, this is for you. Let me start by saying about the author, David Buddy. He's an English comedian, screenwriter, and author. His works include Parent Agency, Person Controller, and Animal Com. Now about the illustrator, Jim Field. He's from London and did notable works like Oi Dog, The Lion Inside, The Christmas Pig. He received many awards like Oscar's Book Prize and Lolly's Book Award. Well, let me tell you about the book. It is a book with black and white illustration and 390 plus pages. The story is divided into 4 parts and has 64 chapters. The entire story is purely fictional and the theme is about birthday. Coming to the plot of the story, as the title indicates, it's about the birthday boy named Sam Green who lives with his parents, Charlie and Vicky, his little sister Ruby, and his grandparents, Sam, Poppy, Mike, Glenda. Sam Green really loves his birthday. That in fact, he wishes it to be every day. And the story goes on with every day being his birthday, with various themed parties, presents, blowing candles on his cake, and so on. But it is not long before things started to go wrong. Soon, disaster strikes, threatening something that Sam loves. Well, let me tell you what I liked in this book. The story is very funny and interesting. There were many kinds of birthday themes like chocolate birthday, Easter birthday, Halloween birthday, Christmas birthday, New Year birthday, outdoor birthday, skateboarding birthday, and so on. Also, descriptions given for each birthday is quite fascinating. And no wonder if I plan any of those for my birthday. Also, I would like to point out few catchy lines in the book. There is one dialogue where Sam's father mentioned birthday as, "That was the anniversary of the day you were actually born." I felt new. I like the way the birthday is said. Here's another by Grandpa Sam. "Don't be stupid. If every day is your special day, then no days are special." Wow, what a say! It's really remarkable, right? Well, with the above said likings, also there's one thing that is confusing me. Actually, I can say that as a major issue I faced during reading. In the story, as said previously, Sam wished every day be his birthday, and things happened like that. Later, Sam to celebrate his birthday once in a year. And that is where I'm stuck. How did he unwish his wish? How come things are back to normal? Seriously, that is beyond my understanding. If any one of you have read the book or will read later, please clarify me. And now, coming to the things that I have learned. First, as a language learner, I learned many new vocabulary. For example, sorted, tendency, defiantly, ridiculous, sleek, and many more. The list will be really big as I have learned so many words. Second, ethically, I learned two main values in this story. Sam's parents struggle financially to celebrate his birthday every day. And sometimes Sam seems not to realize that. Then I thought even our parents put lots of efforts and struggle for our goodness. So we should try to understand them and behave well. Finally, let me summarize my review with my feedback. Overall, my reading journey with this book was wonderful. It was funny, exciting, and interesting throughout the book. Having said this, my ratings would go like this. For illustration, 1 star only, since it is black and white. If it is color, I would have given more. And reading experience was enjoyable, so 2 stars. Fine, and totally it would be 4.5 stars out of 5. Well, that's it. I really enjoyed this book. I would strongly motivate this book to anyone who wants to enjoy story reading. Hope my review will motivate you to read this book. So friends, do read this book and have fun. Happy reading everyone. Thank you.
Hi, 200 present over here. I'm Subikshan from grade 7A and I'm going to review the book The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, written by Joseph Murphy. And this book is a self-help book. Let me start with some questions. Do you want to be rich? Do you want to be prosperous? Do you want a healthy life without stress? Still, I can ask a lot of questions like this, but the only answer you will give is yes, of course. But some of the people will be scared of these questions. They say, I'm not rich at all. I'm very poor in my life. I am not at all healthy. But this fear will lead them to somewhere in the darkness. But not a problem. The book, Power of Your Subconscious Mind, has the solution for this. Why I didn't say the solution? Because I wanted you to read this book. We can separate people into 2 types. One is magnetized people and demagnetized people. Magnetized people. Let me give some example for it. When iron is magnetized, it can lift more than its weight. When iron is demagnetized, it can't even lift anything. Am I right or not, friends? Yes. Like that, there are people, magnetized people and demagnetized people. Magnetized people want to win, want to succeed in their life, where demagnetized people leave all the opportunities and say, I will not win in these opportunities. I think I will lose my money. All the people will laugh at me. But believe me guys, these kind of people will never ever achieve in their life as many times. But I already told there is a solution for this. I think many of us know what is an iceberg. Let me say what is an iceberg. It is nothing but it is an ice rock which is floating on the sea. The upper part will be in a small condition. The below part will be humongous, where the upper part is your conscious mind Below part is your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind covers only the 10% of the iceberg. It includes willpower, logical thinking, critical thinking, and short-term memory, where the subconscious mind covers the 90% of the iceberg. It, it includes it includes beliefs, emotions, visualization, habits, long-term memory, and etc. etc. By this, you can understand that more than your conscious mind, your subconscious mind can change your life. I would like to quote some Tirukural here. உள்ளம் உடைமை உடைமை பொருளுடைமை நில்லாது நீங்கிவிடும் வெள்ளத்தனையது மலர் நீட்டம் மாந்தர்தம் உள்ளத்தனையது உயர்வு உள்ளுவதெல்லாம் உயர்வுள்ளல் மற்றெல்லாம் தள்ளினும் தள்ளாமை நீர்த்து. Our புலவர் தமிழ் புலவர் திருவள்ளுவர் says us that the power of your subconscious mind is very great. Use it in your proper way. So you want to use it correctly and you want to be filled with good thoughts. Imagine that you're the ship and the captain is your subconscious mind and your sailor is the subconscious mind. If you're filled with bad thoughts, your ship will get damaged. It'll ruined. So your captain, which means the conscious mind, can't give any commands to your sailor. Then your sailor can't do anything. Your ship will totally sink into the sea. Like that, if you're filled with bad thoughts, you will get ruined and your conscious mind can't give any command to your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind can't achieve, can't do anything in your life and your life will totally sink into the sea like a ship. I think many of us know who's the Confucius, the great China philosopher. He says that the man who says he can and the man who says he can't are both correct. How is it possible? Because how the man thinks he will become as. If the man thinks I can do it, I will do it and I will win in this opportunity, he can do it. If the man thinks that I will not win in this opportunity, I think I have to leave it, he will not win in this. Because let me give an example for this sentence. There's a father who's having a disease and he's having a son. His son is very worried about his father because his father is he's in a danger condition. But he got an idea. He went and he took a stone from the street waste and he gave to his father and said, "Father, I bought this stone from a big saint. I got the stone for $500. The father was so surprised and he asked, $500? What is the use of it? And the son told, the use of it is very wonderful. He told that if you keep that stone near your chest and sleep, none of the disease will attack you. But he told after a few weeks, all the disease will cure up. After a few weeks, the disease was negative. How is it possible? You can ask that. We know it in medical science. We know it doctors. It's not matter about medical science and doctor. When the son gave the stone to his father, he believed it so much. He was not even having a single doubt in it. The thought that the stone will cure me made him to cure himself. By this, I'm rating my book 4.5 stars. Why I reduced 5 stars, 0.5 stars? Because there is an example which I don't like. It's not that I don't like, which seemed to me negative, which means there is a lady who comes to Joseph Murphy's class. She's not having a car. She need a car. She want to travel 3 hours per day, coming and going totally 6 hours. So she need a car. She's not having much money for the car. But after few weeks, her uncle have dead and she got her uncle's car. This point was like stealing others' things. And this point have made me to minus 0.5 stars. I recommend this book for the people who love to read self-help book, who love to read motivational books. And by this, I'm concluding my book review. I hope everyone loved my book review. And thank you for this wonderful opportunity.
I'm Madeline of grade 8 here to review the book Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone written by J.K. Rowling. This book was published in 1997 by Bloomsbury Publication. Joanna Catherine Rowling, commonly known as J.K. Rowling, was inspired by the people in her surroundings for the characters. Jo often refers Hermione to herself. She has written many other books related to the wizarding world like Harry Potter, a series of 7 books, Fantastic Beasts, a series of 5 books, Quidditch Through Ages, and Tales of Beetle the Bard. This book has sold more than 500 million copies, translated into 80 languages, and made into 8 blockbuster movies. Harry was an orphan who lived with his maternal aunt Petunia, Uncle Vernon, with their son Dudley. When Harry was 11, he came to know he was a wizard. Harry's parents were also wizard and witch who were killed by Lord Voldemort. Voldemort's obsession was in becoming immortal, so he tries to steal the Philosopher's Stone, which was made by Nicholas Flamel and guarded by Albus Dumbledore. I like 6 main characters of this book: Harry James Potter, Hermione Jean Granger, Ron Bilius Weasley, Albus Percival Ulfric Brian Dumbledore, Severus Snape, and Neville Longbottom. Harry James Potter was born on July 31st, 1980 to the Potter family. At the age of 11, he joined Hogwarts and became the youngest seeker in a century. Harry, in the first year, saves a Philosopher's Stone. In the second year, he destroys the Tom Riddle diary. In the third year, he helps an Azkaban prisoner to escape. In the fourth year, he wins a Triwizard tournament, which wasn't eligible for him to participate. In the fifth year, he creates a Dumbledore army to teach defense against dark arts in secret without knowing Dolores Umbridge. In the sixth year, Harry came to know about Horcruxes, Half-Blood Prince, and Dumbledore dies. In the seventh year, Harry hunts for Horcruxes and kills Dumbledore in the second battle of Hogwarts. Next comes Harry's another friend, Ron Bilius Weasley. He mastered the wizard chess, which was an obstacle to save the Philosopher's Stone. He had 6 siblings: Charlie Weasley, Bill Weasley, Percy Weasley, Fred Weasley, George Weasley, and Ginevra Weasley. Next comes another friend of Harry, Hermione Jean Granger. She was born on September 16, 1979, to a Muggle family. She was the brightest witch of her age, although she was a Muggle-born witch. Hermione was in the Slug Club and Dumbledore army. She married Ron and had 2 children, Hugo Granger Weasley and Rose Granger Weasley. Next was the headmaster of Hogwarts, Albus Percival Ulfric Brian Dumbledore. He was honored with an OM first class for his bravery and distinction in magic. Albus Dumbledore was 115 years old when he died. He had 2 siblings, Aberforth Dumbledore and Ariana Dumbledore. Next comes the potion master of Hogwarts, Severus Snape. He was a dear friend of Lily Potter and was often bullied by James Potter. Severus Snape often hated Harry as he loved Lily but couldn't marry her. Severus Snape always wanted to be the Defense Against Dark Arts professor, but he was given the post just for a year. Next comes another friend of Harry, which is Neville Longbottom. He was born to the Longbottom family, and during the first year of Hogwarts, he was very nervous and lost his control in his broomstick often. But because of Ron and Harry's encouragement, he was brave enough to stand up against his friends. Let me give a short summary of this story. First, Harry was left in the doorstep of the Dursleys' home at number 4, Privet Drive. Later, when he was about 11, he varnished a glass in museum and spoke with a snake in Parseltongue, which only wizards can do. After this scenario, Harry started getting letters from Hogwarts as he had a place at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. But Uncle Vernon didn't allow Harry to notice it. So, uh, Hagrid himself comes to meet Harry and gives him the letter. Later, Harry the next day takes Harry to the Diagon Alley to get his school supply and told him about the wizarding world. Harry went to Hogwarts in the Hogwarts Express at platform 9 and 3/4 with the help of Molly Weasley. During Hogwarts, first there was a sorting ceremony where all students were sorted into 4 different houses: Gryffindor, Slytherin, Hufflepuff, and Ravenclaw. Harry, Hermione, and Ron were sorted into Gryffindor. Finally, during Halloween, the Hermione, Harry, and Ron came to know about this Philosopher's Stone, and they go in search of it and save it from Voldemort. They faced many obstacles to save the stone. They first played the wizard chess. They solved a logical puzzle related to potions. They passed the Devil's Snare, which is a plant which could kill you. Then finally, they saved the stone from Voldemort, where Voldemort was hidden inside Quirrell's turban. I would rate this book 4.8 because if the last scene was like Harry saves the stone from Voldemort by using his wand skills. But this was very simple, like Harry goes in front of the mirror of ease and he gets the stone automatically from his pocket. So this wasn't much adventurous in Harry's life. And I would recommend this book to all ages. This have slight difficult words, but it would be understood if you read it twice. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Harish of grade 9. Think of how if a day will be like if it started with a grade 2 by a great personality of India. Yes, it's Ignited Minds by APJ Abdul Kalam. So, how will you feel when you start reading a book? You may feel happy, sad, excited, nervous, many more. But when I start reading this book, there was a sad note at the starting point. That is, Abdul Kalam's plane was crashed. So I thought why he started with a sad note. But when going on reading the book, I felt that there was not even more negativity because think of this person, how a person's life will be with very less negativity. This is because he ignited his mind. He had a fire in his mind to overcome all the problems and he confidently thinks more than twice, is there any problem or is there any bad thing in this type of thing or in this work. So here about the author, you all know about APJ Abdul Kalam. He is a famous personality of India. He was the President of India. He held various positions, ISRO and DRDO. And he also loved meeting school students and children. His main aim was to educate children because by says, a nation could only grow if children are educated. So here in this book, Abdul Kalam ignites the mind of teenagers because children, they are too small. Let them grow in their own way. And adults, they are grown up. They can think on their own. So let them think on their own. But teenagers, they are neither too childish or not too adult. So Abdul Kalam ignites the mind of teenagers. So when the mind of teenagers are ignited, they have a confidence which will never destroy in their life. So when our mind is ignited, we can think more efficiently than other persons. So when we think more efficiently than other persons, we can become a successful person. So when every child is growing up, our nation can grow up. So here Abdul Kalam questions that we, the huge population, have our own skills, talents, everything. We are needed to settle at the best, but why we are settling up in the worst? So let us take an example. In Olympic Games, India has won nearly less than 100. Why? We have our talents, skills, we have everything with us, but there is no opportunities. Abdul Kalam indirectly says that, so when I read this book, I got to know that there was very less opportunity here. So the best example for this is, nearly 5,000 Indians are moving out of the country with lack of opportunities. So we should never ever live for anyone. Should just grab the opportunity or create the opportunity for our own. So when we grab the opportunity for us, our skills will be shown. So when our skills are shown, we can develop ourselves. So when every children is developing here and there, our nation will grow. So if a nation grows, the nation will be a powerful one. Think of India is the potential superpower in the world, but why it's still developing? That's because lack of opportunities. Everyone here and there is just sitting there, trying to show their skills, but there's lack of opportunities. So we all just sit. I have our best examples here. We just sit in a home. One of the brother of mine will just sit in home, watch IPL till 11 o'clock. But I'll advise him, yeah, it's good, you can get entertained, but by the same way, you should learn how they are handling the problems. You can learn from them how we can improve by ourselves. So here Abdul Kalam tells that we should keep our father, mother, and elementary school teachers and secondary school teachers as a role model. Because when we keep them as a role model, we get inspired by them. So when we have many of such of role models, we can grow rapidly. Because if example, a mother is best in cooking and a father is a hard work person, we can get inspired by them. We can become a best cooker. Also, we can put hard work. So having many inspirational or role models will help you grow rapidly. So when you grow rapidly, no one can't stop you because your development is only in your hand. When you keep on growing up, you can be mastered at everything. So when you master, you can be a master. So when we have a good role model, that too in various fields and many more, we can get developed ourselves and we can be better than them. So one of my thought is that role models are the one whom we want to be better than them. So I conclude that this is a very good book. And one more interesting fact is that this is in demand after Abdul Kalam's death. So my rating is 4.5 out of 5 because as this is a too old or very old book, some informations are not given clearly. If that's correct, this will be my first book. I'll give rating 5. Thank you.
I am Tamil Kumaran of grade 7B. I am going to review a book called Who Moved My Cheese? This is an motivational and self-help book. This book was written by Dr. Spencer Johnson, published by Vermilion and published in September 8, 1998. Dr. Spencer Johnson, international best-selling book author who helped millions of people to find the simple truth of their life. This book is about an amazing way to deal with change in your work and in your life. This book is very small and have 94 pages. I read this book in only 3 days. Author says a story. The story is, once in a land far away there lived 4 little characters. 2 were mice named Sniff and Scurry, and 2 were little people named Hem and Ha. They always search for cheese and maize to nourish them and make them happy. Their something is different. They share something common. Their routine. They will always wake up earlier, put on their jogging suits and shoes and race through the maze. Mice are simple rodents. They use their simple brain to find their cheese. But little people are special. They use their brains filled with beliefs to find their own special cheese. While searching in the maze, they came across Cheese Station C. The Cheese Station C is filled with their own special cheese. They are very happy, and next day the mice were following the same routine. But the little people were not following because they are lazy. They will wake up little bit later, put on their jogging suits and slippers and walk slowly towards the Cheese Station C to eat. And even they invited their friends and showed the cheese with a pride. And also they moved their house little bit near to Cheese Station C to eat faster. Then mice are still searching every day. They will sniff out the direction where the cheese is there, and Scurry will run towards the direction where Sniff. Every time they bump into the wall, until one day they came across Cheese Station N. The Cheese Station N is also filled with piles and piles of cheese. They were eating there. And now we can move again to little people. Until one day, the little people's cheese were nowhere to be found in Cheese Station C. They were very angry, and Hem shouted, "Who moved my cheese?" And Ha shouted, "This is not fair." And their face turned into red. They searched every day overnight, and they could not find. And they thought the cheese will come back in next day, but it didn't. And after some more searching, they bumped into a wall. They thought the cheese will be across the wall. And next day, they took 2 sledgehammers and broke the wall, but couldn't find any cheese. And because of the searching, they became weak and hungry. And Ha thought, if the cheese was not here, it will be inside the maze. And he said to him that the cheese was not yet to be found in Cheese Station C, and it will be inside the maze. But Hem thought that was a bad idea and said, "What will happen if you get lost?" And Ha replied, and he said, if we be so long here, we will become weak, so weak, and we will die here itself. And he went inside the maze. After some walking, he came across some normal cheese in the corridor. He don't want because he needs this only special cheese. After some more searching, he came across Cheese Station F. The Cheese Station F is have little cheese of their own. He ate it very fast and put some on his pocket to save it for him. And after reaching the Cheese Station C again, he saw Hem, and he gave the cheese. But Hem said, "No, I need the old cheese back. I don't like this cheese." And Ha became angry and said, I found the cheese with the hard work." And he again ran inside the maze. And after some more walking, he couldn't find any cheese. But he is now confident. After some more searching, he came across Cheese Station N again, where the mice were eating. He went inside and saw mice were eating, and with a joy in his face. And he went in. The mice welcomed them and shared adapt to change, and changes happen every time. If you didn't focus on change, the bigger changes cannot be adapted easily. And I will recommend this book to job workers who don't like to be changed. And I rate this book 5 star because this motivational story is nice. Then I conclude this book review. Thank you.
I'm Roshan from grade 8B. I'm here to review the book It Happened in India. The author of the book is Kishore Biyani and the book was published in year 2007 by Rupa and Co. Kishore, he was born on 9th August 1961 in Mumbai. And he's a middle class student who got a degree of BCom in his city's prestigious HR college. He never get involved in studies and he also spent his better part of the day wandering around places outside his college with his friends. And he also interacts with others and understands the real world. At present, he is an Indian businessman, the founder and CEO of Future Group, one of India's biggest brick and mortar retailers. He is the founder of Big Bazaar too. And the genre of the book is non-fictional book and it's an autobiographical book. Even though it is an autobiographical book, Kishore, as a shy type person, he never mentioned him in the form of first person. He uses his name instead. For example, I am the owner of Big Bazaar. He mentions that Kishore is the owner of Big Bazaar. And I like this book very much because they give quotes under each and every chapter headings. From this, I came to know that Kishore is a fine, good book reader. Without reading the book, how could he get the quotes? And the favorite quote for me is, when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you. And which was said by Paulo Coelho. And I like the words chosen for chapter headings. For example, business at the speed of thought, the pantaloons way, the Bollywood calling. And he says that he gets more interest in taking the movie or directing a movie or acting in a movie. He says that movies are the best communication medium. And for watching movies or directing a movie, he can spend he can spend money. But for writing a book, he can spend a little money. So he thought to write this book. And he never ever discouraged thoughts, and he never ever mentioned him in the form of the last person. And he motivates us a lot. He chose his words, and his life inspires us a lot. For example, he says that he likes doing his visiting stores, and that is not for shopping. He hates spending time on himself. Whenever he's at any store, he gets busy watching people, what they buy, what they shop, what they wear, and what they wear, and what they see, how much do they bargain, and they also look. And he says that his job is to transform these observations into actionable ideas. Whenever he couldn't get answer, he called up those people and he starts quizzing them to find a logical answer. And till date, most of his Sundays are spent outside shopping malls, watching people and interacting with others. He says that innovation is not about creating change, and it's not about reacting change. No one can see the future and no one can define it in black and white. The future is a fluid entity that an organization imagines and creates. And he also sees that business like a living organization, like it's living, breathing, and entitized and is growing organically. He says that nothing is more powerful than nature. And from these words, I can see that he motivates us a lot, and he also tells us the tips how to be motivated, how to get inspired. And I get inspired by these kind of motivations. There are a lot of motivations in this book, but I have mentioned only two. The remaining motivations says about what happened in his life and what is he doing and what will he do and how he made up the ideas for his store to develop. And whenever I say Big Bazaar, you all know what is Big Bazaar, and we have almost heard Big Bazaar. It is a store which was developed by Kishore. And he never gets discouraged, and whenever he gets discouraged, he says that he will see others, for example, his friends, or he will take a book and read. And from this, I can say that he's a fine, good motivator, and he gets inspired of all the leaders like APJ Abdul Kalam and like Vivekananda. He says that he reads those books, and he says that he dedicates the book to the ones who visited his store, the ones who stood by him, and the ones who believed in him, and for his family members. And I recommend this book for the ones who are willing to open a pantaloons retailer store. And I am signing off from now to tell you that be inspired or read motivational books to be motivated. Thank you.
I am Trilok from grade 6th. I am here to present a book named Spirit of India. It was written by APJ Abdul Kalam. APJ Abdul Kalam is a great author. He has written so much books like Ignited Minds, Guiding Souls, and etc. He was inspired by the great Indian leaders. For example, Mahatma Gandhi ji, Dr. Ambedkar, Jawaharlal Nehru, and etc. He was born on October 15, 1931. He has gotten so much civilian awards like Bharat Ratna, Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, and Padma Bhushan. He was the 11th President of India. Everyone loved him. Why? Because he spread kindness all over the places he went, and he did his work really honestly. That's why everyone loved him. This book contains 180 pages, and this book was published in 2010 by the help of Rajapal and Sons publishers. And there is no protagonist or total characters in this book. This book contains 4 chapters. Coming up to the first chapter, Spirit of India. Independence movement in India was created in 1947, August 15th. All political parties must cooperate and answer our question. When will India become a developed country? All political parties must cooperate. Mahatma Gandhi ji got us independence. The people who helped him encouraged him. That made Mahatma Gandhi ji more powerful. The more powerful you get, the more responsible you get. If it's not your responsible to, you should help them. If you help an poor guy, they will bless you. Even though it's not your responsibility, they will be really happy. We must respect everyone. If 540 million youth workers stood together, I can do it. We can do it. India can do it. Nothing can stop India from becoming a developed country. second chapter, Spirit of Education. Do we need to study? Is education that important? Yes, education is really important. If you don't study, you couldn't go for a job. Without studying, you couldn't do anything. For example, if you give a poor guy 5 lakhs rupees, he'll spend it all on a wasting because he did not get educated. He doesn't know how to spend all of the money and spend it in a waste thing. So if you are educated, you can find your own job and you will know how to spend the money. You will know the value of the money. In your opinion, which work is better? Do you think is it a soldier, a doctor, or a teacher? Well, everything has its own role. A soldier goes for a war. They don't think about their lives. They just go for their war. Even so much soldiers has died because of going for war. But they don't care. They save India. We must respect them too. A doctor, if we are injured or sick, a doctor helps us. A teacher teaches us, and a teacher teaches us. Because of the teachers, we get new ambitions and everything. So let us move on to the third chapter, importance of science and education. What is science? Science is a subject. If you know science, you can become a scientist. But is it important to become a scientist? Yes, becoming a scientist is it's a good work. If you can create your own objects, you can, for reducing the pollution in our country, you can make pollution clearer, and we can use some. If you studied about it more, we can use trash to make an electronic device with a trash. That is also a thing to reduce pollution. And who is the first scientist? Who is the first and who found science? Well, nobody knows who is the first scientist or what is science. Because when science was found, no one. It was created in a normal way. For example, a guy rubbed a stone in a mistake, and it fired. And the flames came. And they got the name that they invented fire. I rate this book 5 out of 5 because it's telling how careless we are. And I'm angry on the people because we have not know about this. If we do it if we do in a correct way, we can develop India in seconds. And I suggest this book to everyone. And I like this book so much. I like to conclude this book review with a thank you.
I'm Pranashri of grade 8. Today I'm going to have a book review on the book Life of Pi. Before the review, let me start with a little quote which is related to the book. The adventure we inhale is the fear we exhale. Let me repeat it. The adventure we inhale is the fear we exhale. You may be wondering that pi means the circumference of the circle to its diameter. But note, here the pi refers to a person who is known as Piskan Molitor Patel. Let me give you a short review and exciting short summary which will wake up your interest to read this book. The author of the book is Ian Martel. He was born on 25 June 1963 in Canada. He is a Canadian author who is well known for the Man Booker Prize. is also the winner of the 2002 Man Booker Prize for the International Best Sold Book Life of Pi. Martel is also the author of the other novel which had the place in the best sold list are The Beatrice and Virgil and Self. I need to convey you something that the title given by the N. Martel to his book attracts a lot. This is an example why I have chosen this book. It has sold more than in 50 territories and 12 million copies. The publisher of this book is Knopf Canada. Knopf Canada established as an editorial independent Canadian branch in 1991. And the founding editor was Lousy Dennis. Dennis is also the publisher of the major Canadian books. And this book was published on 11 September 2001 by Knopf Canada. And this book belongs to the genre philosophical fiction. Let me tell about this book. The quality of the book is very bad. And there are 352 pages in this book and 100 chapters. They divided this book into 3 parts. And this book is not weightless even though it's 352 pages. And 352 pages. And this book is also available in the e-book and also in Amazon. There are 2 main characters in this book with whom we are gonna travel. They are Piskan Molitor Patel and Richard Parker. Piskan Molitor Patel is just known as Five to all of them. He was named after a swimming pool in the Paris. Neither his mother nor father liked swimming. While this incident was happening, he was just 16 years old. He traveled 227 days with a giant tiger named Richard Parker in Pacific Ocean, which is the largest ocean in the world also. And next character is Richard Parker. Richard Parker is an adult Bengal tiger, which is in the category of the India's national animal. And Richard Parker is the tiger who stuck with Pi in the lifeboat. You may be wondering that Richard Parker is a name of a person. Then how can be the name changed to an animal? Because of a story and due to a paperwork agreement in the while they sold the book while they sold the tiger to the Pi's father's zoo, which is located in Pondicherry. And they named the cup name as the Richard Parker, and the person who sold it got the name as Thirsty. And Pi's father decided to call the tiger as Richard Parker itself. And let me speak about the short and exciting summary of this novel. And Piskan Molitor Patel grows as the zoo's son. Piskan Molitor Patel grows as the son of the zoo's manager in Pondicherry. And Piskan named as Pi, and he told that the name pays the tribute to the transcendental number of the circumference of the circle to its diameter. And Pi was very brilliant in maths, and he can do any sum in the mathematics also. One day, Pi and his older brother Ravi got an assignment on the dangerous animal kept in the zoo. And the positive thing in this was they also had a zoo for this experiment also. But their father stopped it because they are trying this experiment with a giant tiger named Richard Parker. And it is not safe for their life also. And Pi was raised as Hindu, and also he is a vegetarianism. At the age of 14, he became an adherent, which means he belongs to the all region like Hindu, Christian, Islam and Buddhist. And after some days, Pi's father decided to sell this zoo because of an emergency declared by the Indira Gandhi in 1973. At the second part of the novel, Pi and his parents and also their brother traveled to North America by using a ship named Simsum and a Japanese freighter carrying all the animals kept in the zoo. After some days, the ship sinks unfortunately, and Pi was not able to help their parents, but he helped all the animals kept in the zoo. And he doesn't know that he's gonna face a huge problem and a lot of struggle for 227 days. When he woke up, and Pi escaped by using a lifeboat kept in the ship. When he woke up in the morning, he saw the 3 animals with him. They are zebra, hyena, and a monkey named Oranges. The hyena killed the orange juice and the zebra. Pi's heart was broken and he was feeling very sad because he's also having a humanity. After some days, while hyena was going to attack the Pi, Richard Parker gave a mass entry and killed the hyena. After that, Pi Pi was shocked because he's seeing a tiger in front of him, and he built a small raft using a rescue material kept in the zoo, kept in the lifeboat. And he lived in that, and the Richard Parker lived in the lifeboat. For 10 days, Pi managed by eating some biscuits kept for emergency in the lifeboat, and Richard Parker didn't it because animals can live for within 20 days also. After 227 days later, the boat ushers to a beach in the Mexico, where where Richard Parker flew to a jungle and without turn and seeing the bag, and Pi's heart was broken because he lived with the tiger for 227 days. My observation in this book, the content given by the N. Martel to his book, and also the character, and he explained how the character also got its name. And my like part in this book was the adventure faced by Pi, and also the struggle faced by Pi with the giant tiger. And the dislike part of the book is the quality of the book, and it's not important the quality of the book. The important is the content of the book only. And the ending can be a little more interesting that Richard Parker again came and saw Pi for its thoughtfulness. And let me, I recommend this book to the person who love to read adventure and about animals also. And if you and if a person who's above the 7 age can also read this, and it's a very fantabulous book. My rating for this book is 4.5. Thank you.
I am Lali from 8A, here to give a review on the book Attitude is Everything, written by Jeff Keller. Jeff Keller is a motivational speaker, seminar leader, and he delivers presentation on business associations and educational institutions. Before he entered this field, he was a lawyer for more than 10 years. But he felt uncomfortable as a lawyer, so he started working half day as a lawyer and half day as a motivational speaker. But he soon resigned his work as a lawyer and worked full day as a motivational speaker. He has written and published books, Winning Attitude and Here's to Your Success. He has also published weekly magazines like Monthly Motivator and monthly publications that reinforces positive attitude and success principles. His articles have appeared in national and international publications like Selling Power, Toastmaster, Chamber of Commerce, Bestseller. This book was published by HarperCollins in the year 2015. This book is published in many languages like Tamil, Hindi, Telugu, etc. This book contains 128 pages divided into 3 parts with 12 chapters. Before moving to the content, let me give you an example differentiating a person with negative attitude and a person with positive attitude. The person with negative attitude thinks, I can't. The person with positive attitude thinks, I can. The person with positive attitude concentrates on solutions, while the person with negative attitude dwells on problems. Moving on to the content, the first part says about how to think. The second part says about how to act as what we think and speak. Moving on to the first part, it is success begins in the mind. Here the author says that everyone have an attitude window, which starts as a clean one when we are young. As we grow up, it gets splattered by criticism, gets smeared by rejection, gets spoiled by disappointments, gets clouded by doubts. This window can only be cleaned by positive words and positive action. Everyone will be having a belief. If this belief is positive, you will get a positive outcome. If this belief is negative, then you will get a negative outcome. Moving on to the mental movies. We should always create mental movies in mind of what you need to achieve it. Always create it positive to get a positive result. If we create these mental movies as negative, then your mind starts working according to it and you can never attain success after it. The key to get whatever you want is to make whatever commitment it takes. I say commitment as willingness. If I take 5 steps to reach my goal, I'll take those 5 steps. If it takes 155 steps to reach my goal, I'll take those 155 steps. This is known as commitment or willingness. The most common problem. Everyone will be having a problem. We should always turn these problems as an opportunity. Let me give you a few examples how problem serves us. Problems gives us perspective. Problems teach us to be grateful. Problem teaches valuable lessons. Problems opens a new door. Problems bring out a hidden potential. Problems build self-confidence and self-esteem. Going on to part 2, it is watch your words. The words we speak have immense power. They can destroy future, build opportunities. The words we speak reinforces belief and belief create reality. In simple words, there are 5 principles that help you in attaining success. That is thoughts, words, belief, action and reality. The frequently asked question is how are you? There are 3 types of answer to this question. It is positive, mediocre or negative. A positive answer to this question always gives you a boost, while the mediocre or negative answer always gives you negative energy. The positive boost words are terrific, amazing, wonderful. The negative boost words are terrible, okay, not feeling well. Moving on to the third part, that is, here the author says that thinking and speaking positively doesn't give a positive result. We should always act according to it. The people whom we hang out always choose our outlook and future. If we hang out with positive people, we have a positive outlook and a bright future. If we hang out with negative people, we'll have a negative outcome and a dull future. So choose the outlook and future you need and hang out with those kind of people. The path that leads to success is often filled with obstacles. This can only be overcome if you come out of a comfort zone by stretching you more than what you can. Failures. This book mainly highlights about failures. There is no any successful person without attaining any failures. These failures teach what is success. So never go back with failures. The main, that is teamwork. If we are positive and ready to help others, they in return will help us. My likes in this book are, this book perfectly suits for those who need to change their attitude. The 2 chapters that suit me well are, stop complaining and confront your fears and grow. Stop complaining. Before reading this chapter, I almost complained everything to my parents. But after reading this, I have almost reduced complaining to my parents. Second, that is confront your fears and grow. I always have a fear of public speaking, that is speaking without any preparation. But this chapter gave me a confidence to overcome my fear and grow more. Author has given many examples differentiating a person with a positive attitude and a person with negative attitude. Let me give you an example. Tom has a thought like he's not good at sales. So this becomes his words. He speaks to his friends like I'm not good at sales. So this becomes his belief. As I already said about the beliefs create reality, he does not take any more action that will lead him to success. So the result is very poor that he did not sold any stocks. My rating to this book is, I give this book a 4.5 stars because I couldn't change my attitude by reading it once. I should read it twice, thrice or even 4 times to change my single attitude. I recommend this book to teenagers as this is the right age for us to change their attitude. And I also recommend this to business starters as the author has given many formulas to take your business to next level. Thank you.
I'm Tanuja from grade 10A. Understand the past, confront the present and prepare for the future. Yeah, I'm here to review the book The 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. It is an social philosophy and it is an outline of the current problems faced in the world. This book was written by Yuval Noah Harari and published by Jonathan Cape in the year 2018. Yuval Noah Harari is a #1 bestseller and historian and professor in the Department of History at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. His other books are The Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, and Homo Deus, A Brief History of Tomorrow. This book contains 370 pages and has 21 different subjects. These are divided into 5 different parts, that is, the technological challenge, the political challenge, despair and hope, truth and resilience. This book was completely written on the view of the author. The author also says that one can write a book only when he has the complete freedom to express his own thoughts. And this book was written in a conversation with the public. And many of these chapters are based on the response to the questions he was asked. Now I am going to talk about few challenges which I found more important. The first of all is disillusionment. Harari says that humans think in stories rather than facts, thoughts, and so on. And this is how the political disillusionment can spread, leading to the ideologies of fascism and communism. From killing mosquitoes to killing thoughts. In the past, we humans have learned how to control the world outside us, but we haven't learned how to control the world inside us. We know how to build a dam and prevent the river from flowing, but we haven't known how to control our body from aging. We have learned how to design an irrigation system, but we haven't learned how to design a brain. If mosquitoes buzzed in our ears and disturbed us from sleeping, we know how to kill the mosquitoes. But if some thoughts buzzed in our mind and kept us awake, we do not know how to kill the thoughts. The revolutions of biotechnology and information technology will make us to control the world inside us and will enable us to engineer and manufacture our own life. We will be able to extend our lives, design our own brain and kill thoughts. And the second thing the author speaks about is work. He says that the mechanical learnings and the robotics will change the workplaces entirely. He also says that the future workplaces will be having more computers than today. And humans are worried that these computers will replace them and leave them with no jobs. Notwithstanding the danger of mass unemployment, what we should worry more about is the transfer of authority from the humans to the algorithms, which might lead to the decrease in the liberal story and increase in the digital dictatorships. The third thing which I found more important is the liberty. The artificial intelligence and the big data have the potential to rule the world in the future. If we are able to make decisions on education, work and society based on the big data, we will not have the need to have a democratic elections. For example, if Palestinians make a phone or post something in Facebook or travel somewhere, it is monitored by Israel microphones, drones, cameras and etc. And they can make special forces to control the Palestinians. This is how the artificial intelligence and the big data helps us in making a good decision. The next is community. These artificial intelligence have been distancing us from our bodies, and we are now not able to pay attention to what we smell or taste. Instead, we are focused on our smartphones and computers. Through technology, we are able to speak with people who are far away, but it is very difficult for her to speak with her husband over breakfast, who is constantly looking at her mobile phone. And so technology has made it easy to be contacting people who are far away, but it has negatively impacted on our immediate connections and communities. The next is civilizations. 10,000 years ago, humankind was divided into different isolated tribes. And these tribes were fused into larger and larger groups, forming smaller and smaller civilizations. These small civilizations were blended together to form a single global civilization. And the biggest challenge we'll be facing in the 21st century will be the global in nature. Even though we all belong to different communities, we all are under a single global civilization. The next thing is immigrants. Some places are better than others. More and more people move to more and more places in search of jobs or better future. The immigrants are based on the three terms, that is, the host country must allow the immigrants in, and the second one is we must obey the norms and values of the country, giving up some of our traditional norms and values. And the third is over time they become the full members of the country. Allowing more number of intolerant people inside the country will change the whole nature of the society. The next thing is terrorism. Terrorists are masters of mind control. They kill very few people but nevertheless manage to terrify billions of them. And this is how they spread fear and change the political situation. Overreaction to terrorism causes more threat than terrorism. Terrorists spread fear and gain attention.
And this book contains many new words and helps us to improve our vocabulary. I recommend this book to all of us above the age of 14. And thank you.
I'm Tamilmadi from grade 9A. The book I'm reviewing today is Turn Your Creative Spark into a Flame by Johinder Singh. Sri Johinder Singh is the former director of CBI. He has written many good books on self-help and personality development. He is widely acclaimed as an author of repute. Hailing from a poor farmer's family, he scaled the pinnacles of success through sheer motivation and hard work. Winning ways, success mantra, for a better tomorrow, and how to excel when chips are down are some of the popular books to his credit. This book was published by Diamond Pocket Books in 2010. It consists of 158 pages with 67 chapters and each chapter not more than 2 pages. This book is not a book of stories or a collection of biographies. It is a distillation of the author's own experience and learning. It is aimed at ensuring higher levels of productivity and performance in all aspects of your life, like motivation, self-esteem, and self-confidence. It helps you in accelerating the achievements of your goals and make your dream a reality. It encourages you to stay positive and not mind negative comments. It teaches you to be persistent and goal-focused. In this book, the author briefly explains about the power of focusing and prioritizing what is important and what is not. He tells us to appreciate ourselves for what we've done so far. Everything we do for our goal is progress. Never give up on what you've started. Always dream big. There are no limits for your dream. Concentrate on your goal and focus on achieving it. Never give up for the sake of others. If you're thinking of giving up, just remember how determined you were in the past to achieve your goal. You will automatically throw the idea of giving up away. Negative thoughts can be dangerous. It will consume you with discouragement. Organize your thoughts and think straight. Challenges are there in life to be met and overcome. Challenges are what makes our life interesting. Go beyond your limits. In that way, you can find what you're capable of. Some of us have the habit of telling ourselves that we cannot do something. The result is that repeatedly telling ourselves that something cannot be done convinces us that it's futile to even try. We have to understand that failure is the other side of success. If you want to face any problem, you should have the courage to confront your fears. The fear of failing something scares us more than the failure itself. Learn to not be afraid of failure. Failure plays a vital role in the path to success. If you're not happy with yourself, ask yourself as to why you're not happy with yourself and find out as to what you should do to be more happier. In that way, you can be more motivated and always stay positive. A human being is a mixture of perfection in some areas and imperfection in others. Our thinking affects our self-esteem, and our self-esteem is all about how we view and judge ourselves. Concentrate on achieving your goal. The one thing you should always remember is that do not make decisions on temporary emotions. Remember that emotion is temporary, but the decision is permanent. Focus on what you truly want and focus on what is truly important than on what is urgent. A human being is endowed with a unique faculty to control and direct their thoughts. Hence, it is up to each one of us to move on the path of success or pull ourselves down. The author also gives about 40 simple tips to a highly successful life. Prioritize yourself. Determine what's most important to you in life. Always be happy with a smile and spread kindness worldwide. Inspire yourself. You are the only one achieving your goal, and till the end, you will be yourself. You will become who you desire to become. Remember that. The people who are not displaying the kindness most need it the most. Be kind to people in all ways. Contribute to others. In that way, you contribute to your own life. Create opportunities. It is up to each one of us to turn every difficulty into an opportunity. Be calm and more peaceful. In that way, you can understand and analyze the situation better. Analyze the problem and give appropriate solutions. Do not ever doubt yourself. Anybody can stand in your way, but not yourself. If you start doubting yourself, you will get confused. And the hurdles in your life will increase, not decrease. Smile is the best medicine in the world. As you all know, smiling keeps us happy. Even if life puts you in the hardest of times, always smile. This book encourages you to not be ashamed of having uncommon dreams. Uncommon dreams is that dreams which are not popularly known. It also tells us to not hesitate to be unusual in our approach. Be grateful and happy. Keep your mindset grateful and happy. Be grateful for even the smallest things in life. Be grateful that you're alive. Be grateful that you have parents. Be grateful that you're coming to school. Because in the other side of the world, people are dying. People are suffering from a day-to-day life. I conclude by saying that creativity is seeing what others see and thinking what no one else ever thought. By Albert Einstein. Thank you.
I am Akshaya from grade 9 here to review book on the title Nelson Mandela, written by Liz Corgelly. Liz Corgelly is a former teacher and has been writing children's book about geography and history, biography and telling children's stories about geography and history. In 2020, she won SLA Award for Heroes That Help Us Around the World. She published adult biography under the name Liz Flavel. Liz is a successful author who has worked in publishing for nearly 30 years and has been writing for 20 years. She started on a music magazine as Nirvana hit the scene and Britpop was stringing. After working as editor in National Magazine and Book, she jumped ship to write children's book. Now she written over 130 books for children and adults. Biography, history, personal social education is her forte. Infographics like Boy, Dior, Princess and Jimi Hendrix are recent success. She existed to write fiction, non-fiction. This book have 12 contents and a glossary, index and key people of Mandela's time. Mandela was born on 18 July 1918 in Vezo, a small village of Terensky region. Because he was a black man in capable province, his father gave him a Ziosa name Droli Halhal. His father was from Tembu royal family and chief of Vezo. Under the British colony rule, the Tembu royal family had never had the power, but still the black community people used them respect. Mandela did good at school. When the chief of the school sent him to another Methodist school for studying. After 2 years, the chief sent him to another Methodist school where Methodism were taught. After completing, he prized the missionaries who taught him. In 1938, Mandela went to a small university of black students called Fort Hare. Fort Hare selected only good students, so Mandela was proud of it. Mandela studied there law, politics, administration and etc. Most of the students were active in politics. Among them, one of the bright students was Oliver Tambo. Soon Oliver Tambo became Mandela's great friend and work partner. In 1941, Johannesburg was known as City of Gold. Most of the black people went there for work. Mandela and thousands of others went there for work. Luckily, Mandela met a relative named Walter Sisulu. Mandela told Sisulu he wanted to become a lawyer. So Sisulu introduced a lawyer named Walter Slidesky. The Slidesky was impressed to train Mandela as a lawyer and gave his old suits. Mandela described Slidesky as the first white man who
who treated me as a human being. Mandela met a nurse named Evenly Mass and they got married at 1944. Soon they had a son named Tembi. By 1947, Mandela worked as a legal clerk for 3 years. He won his law degree for practicing a lawyer. So he gave up all positions in Slight Sky's office and took loan for study with full time. Evenly Mass gave birth to another girl child. She was often sick and weak. They suffered without no income and they cannot feed their children. In 1949, Mandela became prominent member in the ANC, African National Congress. The ANC's inspiration began was Mohandas Gandhi's peaceful protest. In December 1956, Mandela and 155 others were accused by the government. Mandela was in 1994 a democratic election began in South Africa. Until then, only white had rights to vote, even black were the most. There were long lines leading to the polling booths. They waited patiently in this hot sun, some were barefooted, without food and water. At Holango High School in Natal, a 75-year-old black man voting first in his life. Many journalists had gathered to make the moment more precious. Everyone thought Mandela would vote for the ANC, in which he was already a president. Most of the people voted for the ANC. In 1994, last April, the ANC had won 62.6% and won the election. They was celebrating the movement in Johannesburg. This great man, Mandela, made freedom for his people. He was the civil rights activist, political prisoner and president. Mandela was a great man who fought for his people. I conclude my review by saying everyone can rise their circumstance and achieve success if they are dedicated to and passionate about what they do. Said by Nelson Mandela. Thank you.
Hi all, I'm Srihari. I'm here to review the book titled Rich Dad Poor Dad. I guess most of us have heard this title repeatedly because it's been the best-selling book ever. And this book was released in the year 1997. From 2000, for the next 2 decades, it's been the #1 best financial book ever written. And even it is considered as so. The author of the book is Robert T. Kiyosaki, who is born in the year 1947. And he's the founder of Rich Global, Rich Dad Company, and Cash Flow Game. Rich Dad Company is something that they teach people how to become, how to maintain their financial statement, how to become rich, and maintain it through videos and games. Author clearly mentions that it's not a place for thinkers. School actually make us employees for the bosses whom we are going to work for in future. And so that the author suggests us to do mostly self-study, and I believe in it. I believe it too. The author have titled the first chapter as "The Rich Don't Work for Money." The rich don't work for money; they make money work for them. And the middle and poor class people work for money instead, making money work for them. He states that this is one of the reason and the difference between the rich and poor class people. In this chapter, the author has given us a simple chapter. And from it, I have learned the two most valuable things. That is, we want to have patience when we want something else from others or whatever it may be. And the second thing is, we have to learn to control our emotions. That is, greediness and desires. The author states that when we learn to control these two things, that is, desire and greediness, then we have taken the first step to become rich. because when we control these, our expenses and the liabilities will be so less, so we can become rich in long term too. This is a simple step to do. And the second chapter is why teach financial literacy. In this chapter, for example, let's take two persons, person A, person B. Person A, who doesn't work hard but being in a high paying job and doesn't have any financial literacy at all, and always partying and no chilling, doesn't have any doesn't have any future plan or saving for him. Person B, who is hardworking and getting and he's an average salary paying guy and hustles so hard and he doesn't go for chilling and all those things. Instead, he use that time for hustle. And when we compare these two people's life after 30 to 40 years, the person A would end up broke or pay his debt all his remaining life. Person B, when we are looking, he would become rich or he would improve his life statement or he would become wealthier in life when comparing to the before stage. And the final chapter is the rich invest money. The rich invest money. Invest money in assets, and the middle and poor class people invest money in liabilities thinking that it is an asset. Author states that asset is something which puts money in your pocket and liability is something that which takes money out of your pocket. He always says us to invest money in assets. So to become rich, he says us to keep the liabilities and the expenses as low as possible. And even he said about income sheet and balance sheet. Income sheet is something that it will in that we have asset and liabilities, and balance sheet is something that in that we have income and our expenses. The author says us to keep the expenses and the liabilities as low as possible to become rich in the long term. And he also mentions two type of investors. That is, to be more simple, let's take first investor as beginners and the second one as professionals. Beginners always go with the large cap stocks and doesn't take risk at all. But large cap stocks, it is nothing but when the company's net worth is more than 1,500 crores, they are considered to be large cap stocks, and beginners always invest in it and get a low profit as possible. But the professionals always invest in low cap stocks. Low cap stock is that when the company's net worth is around 200 to 500 crores net worth, the professionals always invest in it because they predict what is going to happen in future. So when the company in the future, when the company hits up so high and its networks go so high, so the invested money will be doubled or tripled too in case. So he says that we always have to learn to become the professionals, not the beginners. And I recommend this book to the persons who are above age of 14, because below age of 14 couldn't understand, won't be able to understand the terms which are used in it. And I mainly recommend this book to the middle class parents because they are the ones who thinks that our school grades and college grades are so important to become rich in life. But that's not how it works. The author says that the grades which you get in life will not be, the grades which you get in schools or college will not be useful for your job or whatever it may be. But you have to have your experiences and you have to do a self-study a lot to become rich. So thank you all.
I'm here to give a review on the book titled The Making of the Greatest Jeff Bezos. Having a dream is easy, but turning them into success is difficult, said by Jeffrey Preston Bezos. This book was published by Rupa Publications on 5th September 2019. It was written by Sangeeta Pandey. Sangeeta Pandey is a senior journalist, a writer, and a freelance editor. She is also a consultant at Amity University, where she teaches a mass communication. One of the notable books which she wrote was The Beginning. This book contains 116 pages and 17 chapters. It looks at some of the defining moments and key incidents